What's up, everybody? We are back. Yeah, Nick raised that blue banner a little bit. Yeah, a little higher. Just cover up that little Red Wings. As some of you know what happened last night. Oh, what a just interesting experience, game ending. I don't even know, but it was something unlike I've never felt to have like an extreme moment of when we hit the game tying shot with 3 seconds left, and then to just find out like a minute later that the Capitals scored on an open net goal. It was just so heart crushing. But man, oh man, these Red Wings, they were so exciting, so much fun to watch. Hats off to all of them. Hats off to Kane, DeBrincat, who came back, coming in strong, who had a cold streak for a minute. Larkin was a dog, and then Lucas Raymond. This dude is seeming like one of my buddies, big hockey guy. Ian McKinnon gave him a comp to Amon-Ra St. Brown. And he kind of said this dude's like a young Amon-Ra, where you see the potential, and he's kind of, isn't there yet, but he's young and he could be there. And I think at the end of this season, we are seeing a new superstar be born, and having him being able to work with guys like Kane and Larkin and Brinkett. Oh man, he is going to take a few tricks or two from those guys and just become a better player. But Nick, you are a big Red Wings guy, so share it with us.
I don't know, man. It was so gut-wrenching. Like, just shout out to the entire team. Obviously, there is a core in Detroit, in Hockey Town, and they're growing with Edvinsson and Seider and defense. And I know that's our biggest bugaboo, but they're going to grow together. Lucas, as you said, is just a star budding right before our eyes. And to even play with alongside of those names, and like David Perron, just these veterans that can keep their composure and cool and kind of just show it. I love it. I love the future. It sucked yesterday. It was amazing. The reaction of the goal with 3.3 seconds left. I dove onto my ground like it was a swimming pool and was just like swimming on my ground, screaming into my floor, ran upstairs and like hugged and kissed my wife and was like, we did it. 3 point. There was an icing with 7 seconds, and it was just everyone. It was just it was the dumps. We were all in the dumps, and Perron got that shot off, and it was amazing. It did stink. What the highest of highs followed by the lowest of lows. No more than a minute later, after Washington scored, when Philly had to pull their goalie. For anyone who doesn't know, Philly had to win in regulation, or they would not have made the playoffs. So they risked it for the biscuit. And unfortunately, it just caused Detroit to lose because Washington was able to get an open netter, or at least lose out on the playoffs. I mean, but next year is going to be big. I contribute this to like the 2000, or I don't contribute. I affiliate with the 2022 Detroit Lions that finished 9-8 and just missed the playoffs because Baker Mayfield couldn't beat the Seahawks. It's very similar to that situation right now. We are growing as a team. Yzerman will go out and do what he needs to do this year in the offseason. I am not worried. I do expect us to be one of the top 3 teams in the Atlantic Division next year. But shout out this year. It was amazing. It was some of the best last 3 games I've ever seen. And it was just amazing to have playoff atmosphere hockey in April in Detroit, because that was electric. You know what I mean? Like, that was electric. I hadn't seen our timeline popping about the Red Wings like that in ever. So it was just really fun to see. But we're onward and upward. We got the Tigers still playing. They took a tough L today after tying it up in the bottom of the 8th. We got the draft coming up. It is still a ton of sports to be watched, even with the Pistons and Wings being out. So I'm okay.
Yeah, the Red Wings, I was downstairs watching with my dad, and they had that face-off with like 7 seconds left. And I like kind of thought to myself, well, the only way they'll win or be able to tie it up, Larkin's got to win this face-off, and then they have to take an immediate slap shot. And it was one of those things where you're like, you kind of draw it up in your head, and it's exactly what happened. It was like, the only thing I could compare it to recently is ironically, the 2 Michigan basketball shots. The Jordan Poole one when he beat Texas Tech on that crazy 3 where it was like, all right, just got to inbound it and maybe we'll get a buzzer beater 3. And then the Trey Burke shot against Kansas where it was just like, we got to make something happen. Hit a 3 right here, tie the game up. And sure enough, like exactly the perfect picture in your brain played out on the TV. And when that happens, it's just, oh my gosh, so amazing. But another thing I do want to touch on is these damn refs, man. I don't know if you know, Nick, but the refs, they screwed us. It was the refs. And not in the Red Wings game, in the Flyers game. They had a play where the referee blew the whistle because he just lost sight of the puck. When in reality, the puck just went up straight up in the air and it ended up coming down, bouncing off a player and in the net. A complete goal, essentially, if the ref didn't blow the whistle, but he did blow the whistle thinking the puck went out of bounds, blowing the whistle, play dead. So there was no goal. And not to mention, this no goal call was an extra like 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes of real time, real game time where the Flyers Capitals game was delayed, where, you know, if it was faster, or the Red Wings game would have known about the Red Wings game faster and not pulled the goalie right away. So such a tough loss, such a disappointing thing. It was just brutal, brutal, brutal. But yeah, these Wings, they are fun to watch. They're Showtime Red Wings. I'm just hoping and praying that Kane comes back. He was so much fun to have. And even if he doesn't, just happy to have him for this season. But on to the Lions. We have 1 day left until the new jersey reveal. The Lions did a little teaser. We had a bunch of accounts like Lions Royalty and a few other guys dive into it, break it down, look at all the letters, the fonts, the little stitching that they showed for 1 second. And I still got nothing, honestly. I don't really think they've ruled out anything. I don't know if they hinted at going classic or going something modern, but what I do feel still confident in is I do think it will be a significant change. I don't think it'll be a minor tweak or just something like small, kind of what the Browns did with their helmet where they just, added some gloss and a white face mask. I really do think we'll see something different. So some final last thoughts on these new jerseys coming up tomorrow, Nick.
God, I'm the worst Lions fan maybe because I don't care. I don't care if they were like, we're wearing pink now. Like, I truly don't care what we are wearing as long as we win. And as long as these jerseys don't bring the luck that the priority waste patch brought the Red Wings, I'm very okay with it. Like, it'll be cool. It's something new. Even the helmet last year, like, I don't care. I don't care. I care more about winning than the jersey reveal. So let's just get it done with. I am very much more excited. I'm very much more excited for the draft this upcoming week instead of the jersey reveal tomorrow. So I don't know. I hope it's cool. I guess I don't care. It does seem like it might be the old school Lions jersey.
That's kind of what the consensus is kind of feeling, I guess, on Twitter. And that's what, seems what it could be. But I don't know. Lions could take a complete left turn and, throw us off. So
what do you think about the blue face mask?
That would be interesting if they did something different with the face mask, because hopefully teams start, to change face masks, because the simple gray, silver, I will say I like how the Browns did the white. That's kind of, different. The Lions could do chrome or even white or maybe black. I don't know, something different. That would be cool. But a lot of things to look forward to in these next probably like week or so for the Detroit Lions. Got the jerseys and then the draft coming up, where I don't know if you guys have seen, there's all sorts of draft parties. I will be down there. Not sure exactly what I'm going to do, but it's looking like I'll go hang out with the Crunch Time Pod over there, see what those guys are up to, and they see what their party's going like. But ultimately, it's going to be a fun time. So if you guys are down there, shoot us a DM, shoot us a tweet. We'll respond to you. I'll let you know. Maybe we'll link up for a beer or something. But, Nick, are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
A whole first round mock draft. So if you're here only to listen about the Lions, well, wait till the 29th pick and we'll get to them, because we're talking every football team today, doing a whole first round mock draft, talking all the teams. Adam's got odds and I'll take the even picks. And we're just going to do a first round mock draft because that's literally the only thing that's on our brains with 8 days to go until the draft. 8 days to go into the draft.
Yes, sir. All right, let's fire up then. Enter solo draft. All right. Hopefully I don't do this wrong. I've literally not super experienced mock drafter here, but we'll get it done. All right, with first overall pick, the Bears are taking Caleb. Everyone knows it. It's cat's out of the bag. They trade Justin Fields. It was kind of written into the paper when they traded Fields. So Caleb Williams, not going to do anything crazy. But Washington, there's been a lot going on with them. So Nick, are you still feeling quarterback? And if so, which one?
I am feeling quarterback. I have gone so many ways. It started with Drake May here. I went to JJ McCarthy here at 2, and then I went Jaden Daniels. I think they're all in play. They're all visiting Chicago. I though, because we can keep these going a little bit quicker, for Washington, definitely going quarterback, and I'm selecting Jaden Daniels for Washington. I just think his mobility is going to be something that they really look for, and he's got a great arm, strong. He is going to be an impactful starter in the NFL. Given the right talent around him. They still have McLaurin there and Jahan Dotson. They've added Austin Eckler, and they still have their other running back, Brian Thomas. I can't remember what his name is. But they have a good team. Like Marvin Harrison could also be in this conversation, honestly, and just load up on wide receivers in Washington. But I think they go quarterback, and I think they go Jaden Daniels.
I like it. See, now I'm torn here. I think the Patriots are a little bit higher on Drake May than they are Jaden Daniels. So if you were to have taken Drake May, I probably would have rolled out with Marvin Harrison. But it's interesting here. You got a whole new regime, first year with no Bill Belichick. And I kind of find it funny because if they do draft, a Drake May here, even Jaden Daniels, or even a JJ, it's almost kind of ironic in the sense of like, what could Bill Belichick could he have done with, one of these young superstars? Because he had Mac Jones, but Mac Jones wasn't really, a superstar.
Now he's backing up in Jacksonville, which is crazy.
Yeah,
and we associate Michigan quarterbacks with New England. You know what I mean? So like it almost just that JJ McCarthy always screams out at me at the 3. But you're right. Drake May, he's supposed to be the new Josh Allen, 6'4", can run, can throw.
And yeah, I think I am going to go Drake May here just because looking at next year's draft, I think the Patriots do kind of have an eye on that. There's not a whole lot of quarterbacks, although this draft is deep. So if they wanted to wait, to like the second and try to get, a Penix or, wait till the late second, get a Rattler, Bo Nix, someone like that, they definitely could do that. But I just feel like new head coach, you see a superstar like Drake May, you're just going to want to get him. You can't really make a bad choice by taking him, even if he's a bust. You won't really have a lot of the fans coming after you.
Right. And so here in Arizona at the 4th pick, this is one of my biggest trade proponents here. I have Minnesota doubling down both their picks in the first round to go to Arizona, go up to this pick. However, in our mock draft, we are doing no trades. So we're just sticking with what is there. But I do like Arizona trading back. However, if they don't trade back and they're here and the quarterbacks go 1, 2, 3, and they can't even get a deal done, they're taking Marvin Harrison Jr. to pair with Kyler Murray. Like they got rid of who left them this year? I think Rondale Moore left them Hollywood Brown left them this year to go to Kansas City. They're going to have to replace that. You can't go in with the receivers that they have right now. So give me a full healthy Kyler Murray and pairing them with Marvin Harrison Jr. I think it's a slam dunk pick.
Yeah, I agree. Marvin with Kyler, especially with them, getting rid of Hollywood Brown and not really having a true wide receiver 1 on the team. They even got rid of Rondale Moore too.
They did. Where did he go? I thought
the Falcons.
Oh, that's right. For straight up for Desmond Ritter. Right.
Yes, that weird ass trade where you're like,
really
why the Cardinals want another quarterback? Huh?
Yeah, it is.
So yes, I guess 2 wide receivers on the team left. So yeah, they'll definitely be looking for a wide receiver. Probably going to take Marvin Harrison. Now the Chargers, man, this is so interesting because if JJ is sitting right here, and if there's been any calls of Justin Herbert or like mega trades like that, I would not be surprised if Jim Harbaugh did something crazy and just got an elite weapon. Picks and then went JJ. So I think it happened. I'm not going to do it here because it would be a odd scenario where you would have to, make a trade, and we are no trade on this. So I will rule out JJ, but it is something that I don't know. I have this weird little feeling that
That'd be crazy.
I'm 100% sure either Corum or JJ will be on the Chargers come week 1. That is what I will say. Corum more likely than the other, but you never know. So
right.
I will say they did lose Keenan and they did lose Mike Williams. So if, Jim Harbaugh's like, you know what, we got to get an elite, young, healthy wide receiver in here. Malik Neighbors, I think he's your guy. He would pair well with, a Justin Herbert who could sling it down the field. And Neighbors is a dude who can, step into a wide receiver 1 role immediately. His numbers are off the charts. He tested crazy. He runs an insane 4.40. So Malik Neighbors, I think the Chargers will want to just add a wide receiver for Justin Herbert, keep him happy as well. But don't rule out that JJ McCarthy.
Okay, that's crazy, and I like it. It's crazy, and I like it. This is another spot that JJ McCarthy could fall to or could go to, whether it be a trade up for him or just the Giants in general, who are paying Daniel Jones quite a bit of money. However, I don't think they have any faith in him, at least, especially Brian Daboll, the head coach, who we know is a quarterback whisperer. Just when you have Daniel Jones, I don't think it's there. However, he did win a playoff game 2 years ago against division rival Minnesota Vikings. They also need to add wide receiver. They do have a very sound team. They lost Saquon Barkley at running back and only added Devin Singletary, who I don't love as like an RB1 for 17 games a year, but you're not drafting a run. There's no running back to be drafted at 6. And they did that with Saquon a few years ago. And obviously it just didn't work out the way that they wanted. I think they're going to add yet again another pass catcher. They went first round wide receiver last year, and I think they're going to do it again, but they get the true X here. We saw Darius Slayton today, did not report to the team, so we don't really know what's going on with that, but I will take Washington's receiver, Rome Odunze, and I do think he is actually going to finish as the second best wide receiver out of this class over Malik Neighbors, in my opinion. It does kind of depend on where you go. If you have Justin Herbert throwing you the ball, you probably will do a lot better than if you have Daniel Jones throwing you the ball. But I like Rome a little bit more than I like Malik this year, but both are very talented. I'm taking Rome at the 6th pick.
Yeah, I feel like this wide receiver class could be like one of that, similar to the 2021 class where you got, the Jamar Chase, Devonta, Jalen Waddle, Amon-Ra. I do feel like we are going to find another diamond in the rough like Amon-Ra was, and will, exceed to should have been a first round talent. So this wide receiver class is deep. It definitely makes sense for the Giants to go get an elite prospect like Odunze. So I like the pick there. Now the Titans, they went out, they got Tony Pollard. They got Calvin Ridley. It seems like they're trying to compete for this division, which is just mind-boggling, but they have Will Levis still, and he seemed to show some flashes and look decent. So the only final piece for them to kind of add is some more protection. And what not better than Joe Alt, solid offensive tackle from Notre Dame. The dude's a beast, is the consensus-ish top offensive lineman right now. A lot of guys like him. There's a few that, like the guy from Penn State, Fashanu. God, I can never pronounce his name. I tried to stay away from his first name, tried to go to his last name, and that did not work either. So Penn State offensive tackle is what we're going to call you. But Joe Alt, I think he can just go into this offense very nicely. It'll be a great offensive lineman for Will Levis. You got to have, your star, at least one superstar on your offensive line if you're going to have at least a decent offense. We saw that with the Lions and Penei Sewell, and once he came in, you saw the run game, you saw the pass game. Goff looked excellent, and it's just kind of a, domino effect, as you will, when you get offensive linemen. It might not come immediately, but when it does, it's usually locked in. So Joe Alt, I think the Titans will add some offensive line.
I love that. I agree. I just very much agree. This has been a team that has been in talks of trading back with the Minnesota Vikings for the JJ McCarthy because there are a lot of good tackles. And even if you miss out on Joe Alt and you move back to 12 or 11, you still have the chance at Oli Fashanu. You have the chance at the other, who is it? Talise Fuaga, Troy Foatanu. These guys are all very talented offensive linemen. But I like the pick a lot. I think these like first 8 picks are the most like chalk at this, you know what I mean? Like that's where it goes. So I would go number 8. I think it's going to be the first defensive player off the board, and it'll be Dallas Turner. What are we looking at over here? A new first round mock?
Sorry.
I was like, wait a minute, make sure. Yeah. Dallas Turner, edge from Alabama. This just makes the most sense for Atlanta. They added Kirk Cousins this year. They have Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson. Their offense should be a lot better this year than it was last year with Ritter at the helm. Their defense was okay last year, and it can improve a lot if you add an edge rusher who can get to the quarterback 8 to 12 times his rookie year. So I'm going with Dallas Turner, and I think that's the last of the chalk. Now things are going to get crazy.
I agree. There's a lot of guys in here that, you know, could fit different teams. So it's these first what do we have? First like 8 picks are pretty simple, and then once you get down to the like 10s, that's where it gets interesting. So we still have JJ on the board, which is interesting. No, I don't think the Bears will draft him, but if Julius was here, he would be beating for that one. So the Bears, part of me, I don't know. Part of me, no, they still got Cole Kmet. I was kind of thinking Brock Bowers. I haven't really seen that in a lot of mocks, but it's obviously because they just re-signed Cole Kmet as well. Fashanu does make a little sense to pair, you know, a stud offensive lineman with Caleb, make sure he's protected. You went out and got DJ Moore, Swift, and Keenan Allen. So 3 elite weapons. Jeez, I cannot speak today. But ultimately, I do kind of like an offensive tackle. I think the Bears are just trying to, you know, make this offense elite. They see what they have to compete with in the Lions, who have one of the best offenses in the NFL, and a young and budding superstar, Jordan Love. And then I guess, you know, the Vikings, who have Justin Jefferson, who, if they give him a good quarterback or hit, you know, gold on a good quarterback, then they will have a good offense. So anything can happen with them. But I do think the Bears will want to, you know, at least bulk up this offensive line. They were pretty bad last year. I know they added a couple of guys, but Fashanu is a, you know, first top 10 type, you know, offensive lineman, top 10 type pick. And if you get a guy like that, just as I was saying with Joe Alt, I think he can, you know, bridge the gap come long term.
Yeah, I like that pick. Just keep stacking up. I don't really like it as a Lions fan because the Bears adding it to their offensive line help with Darnell Wright, who they drafted latu year. I don't love it, but you know, it's a good pick for them. I also wouldn't be surprised to see a couple other names here, like Laiatu Latu, an edge rusher from UCLA. He would be a good fit for Chicago as well.
They could pair him with Montez Sweat too, which would kind of suck. But
yeah, exactly. That could be lethal. And we'll go to the Jets now. Again, by now, JJ McCarthy would have already been. I do think he's a top 5. I think he's a top 5 pick. But again, we're not doing any trades. And he didn't go to the Giants, so he's going to fall to Minnesota at 11 probably. But that's Adam's pick, and I don't know what he's going to do. I am picking for the Jets though, and the Jets are going all in this year. As we know, they went out and got Mike Williams. They are doing everything they can to make sure Aaron Rodgers has the best surrounding cast. And I think the way that Sam Laporta burst onto the scene with the Lions opens up the door to more rookie and Kyle Pitts the year before that. I do think rookie tight end, or 2 years before, I think rookie tight ends are becoming more intertwined with the like start of the NFL, where normally it used to take a year or 2 for them to really get going, and now you can just get right on it. So I think Brock Bowers to the Jets makes a lot of sense. Their leading tight end is Fire Up Chip, Central Michigan alum Tyler Conklin, who is very good, but he's just not great. And Brock Bowers has the talent to be one of the best tight ends in the league. And I think that's just going to help out Aaron Rodgers in however many years he's going to play with the Jets. So I'm going Brock Bowers. He's a great weapon, and the Jets will be happy to get him.
Yeah, I agree with that pick as well. Jets have been just going all in for Rodgers, giving him every weapon he could possibly want. Next thing you know, Randall Cobb and Jordy Nelson are going to come out of retirement.
Yep.
But
James Jones,
Brock Bowers to, you know, the Jets would kind of suck because I do think this dude's an elite type prospect, and adding him to Aaron Rodgers, who has been kind of a tight end, quarterback, hasn't ever had an elite tight end, but always liked his tight ends as he's played. So I'm pretty confident that if Brock Bowers does get to 10, the Jets are going to be all over him, which will stink. But then again, it's AFC, so who does that matter? But I will say, it would be so funny if the Jets went like 6-11 or 7-9, or just had a busted season with this just loaded offense. Would be great.
Great.
But Vikings are on the clock, and I do think that the Vikings will end up with this guy. I don't know if it'll be at pick 11. I think they will end up trading up. They did acquire that 23rd overall pick from the Texans to pair with this 11 overall pick. So I think they're going to try to trade up, maybe with like the Titans seem like a good trade partner. Maybe if, maybe even, the Chargers, Jim Harbaugh's like, hey, McCarthy, you want to go throw to Justin Jefferson? I'll make that happen for you, dude. So I could see that happening as well. But I'm pretty confident JJ will end up on the Vikings. Maybe the Chargers, though. Not ruling that out as well. But JJ McCarthy to the Vikings seems plausible. But it's going to suck to face him twice a year, every year.
Yeah, no, it won't. He's not. I'm happy if the Vikings.
I'm so curious, man. Bust or not, everyone is so split on this guy. It's either like he's going to be the real deal or this dude is a flaming bust.
Yeah, I don't have the utmost confidence. I do think he'll be drafted high. That doesn't mean I think he's going to be amazing in the NFL, but he could be. He's a winner, and winners win. You know what I mean? Just that's what they do. I think I'm going to follow suit with the quarterback selection, though, for the Denver Broncos here at pick 12. And I'm going with Michael Penix Jr., the southpaw lefty from Washington, who played J.J. McCarthy in the championship game. So it'll be kind of fun to see those two picked right after each other. Denver's quarterback, I don't know, might be John Elway. I don't know who it is, honestly. Like, I don't know what they're doing at quarterback. So I don't know if it's like I don't.
Yeah, they don't have anyone as of now.
It's like
kind of weird. They, got rid of Russ.
No, yeah,
it's like Jarrett Stidham. I'm almost positive.
Jarrett Stidham. Yeah, you're exactly right, Jarrett Stidham. Yeah, I don't have faith in that, so I don't know how. I also think they are trade candidates to move up to get McCarthy or even like Drake May. They'll have to mortgage the future, but they want to get Sean Payton a quarterback, and get him a quarterback quickly. And I think Michael Penix has the best speed throwing of all the quarterbacks left between him, Bo Nix, Spencer Rattler. So I'm going Michael Penix to Denver. They just have to have a quarterback. There's no way they don't.
I don't know. The Broncos haven't really been talked about to trade up to get a quarterback. But yeah, I do feel like they got to get a quarterback here in this draft. They just have no one unless they go the, Colts, Kerry Collins, Curtis Painter route, tanking for Andrew Luck, but there's no Andrew Luck next year. So that's the interesting part. Mm-hmm. Raiders, I do think they need a quarterback as well, but if all these guys are off the board, I don't think they would take, like Bo Nix or Spencer Rattler here. They would either trade back or try to get him a little later. Part of me thinks the Raiders will go late 2. It just make this the best defensive line in the NFL. They already have Max Crosby. They brought in Christian Wilkins. And if you can pair a guy opposite side of Max Crosby and then a Christian Wilkins on the inside, that is a tough defensive line. Mm-hmm. But another guy I feel like they're going to go offensive or defensive line here. The two guys I'm on are Letu or Fatuna. Yeah, Troy. Did I say that right? Fatanu.
I have no idea how you really say it. I've been saying Troy Foatanu, but I don't think that's right.
Foatanu. Okay. See, hearing these names is so much different because when I hear them, I'm just like, oh, I know that guy. But when I try to read it, I'm like, who? Quinn? Who's
right? No.
But yeah, Fatanu. wouldn't be surprised if the Raiders tried to just give Aiden O'Connell any type of shot.
Or Gardner Minshew,
Yeah, actually, that's right. They do have Gardner Minshew, so maybe they don't try.
Who was successful with Indy last year and is my favorite.
Oh, this is tough. I'm gonna go late 2. I think defense wins games. You got Antonio Pierce, a defensive-minded coach, kind of a Dan Campbell-esque dude who's, just we're gonna beat you down and we're gonna win by being tougher than you. Right. So I'm gonna go late 2. I think he's a solid value here. This is a guy who I feel like could be a top 10 pick, but pair him next to Crosby and Christian Wilkins, and you got yourself a legit defensive line.
I like that. The Saints now have a lot of different ways they could go. They did just bring in Chase Young, and they do still have Cam Jordan, but getting another edge rusher like Jared Verse could be something they end up going to do. They got an offensive lineman in the first round, Trevor Penning, 2 years ago, but going back to offensive line, getting Fuaga could be the way that they want to go, or JC Latham. I could also see them getting like Brian Thomas here, wide receiver, and pairing him with Chris Olave, as Michael Thomas is gone now, and giving David Carr or Derek Carr someone else to throw to. So there's a lot of different ways that they could go. However, out of all those names, I do think they go back to the offensive line, and I think they're going to go with Talise Fuaga out of Oregon State. He is going to help keep Carr upright. So this pick could go anywhere. The Saints, I don't think, are just one pick away from being that good, but winning that division is quite easy, as I expect a Baker regression. I don't expect Carolina to jump up that much. And then it kind of comes down to Atlanta with Kirk Cousins or the Saints. And I like Atlanta a little bit more, but adding more, we're Lions fans. We know you build through the trenches. And so I think that's why they'll go offensive line.
I like it. Now the top 2 guys I both like for the Colts. I think they're going to go defense. They got, their offense pretty sound and built. You got, not Michael Porter, Michael Pittman, and Jonathan Taylor, and then Anthony Richards to come back. So your offense is solid, but defense, it's kind of iffy. Honestly, I can't really name a solid defensive defender off the Colts right now if I had a minute. So I'm either thinking Terrion Arnold or Jared Verse. One of these 2 guys will just be an immediately plug and play type dude. The Colts, actually, I think they do have DeForest Buckner, or maybe they do have DeForest Buckner. That's who it is. I do think they are going to go cornerback just because they don't really have a whole lot of DBs. Their 2 biggest needs are cornerback or edge. I like Arnold here. I'm probably just going to go Arnold.
Yeah. Hey, Arnold. There's nothing wrong with that. I think Dallas Turner to Atlanta and either Terrion Arnold or Quinyon Mitchell, a cornerback to Indianapolis, are the 2 like concrete that you can add into any mock draft. Those are what's going to happen. Colts are definitely getting a cornerback. And if Terrion Arnold slips past Denver and the Raiders, then he probably will be the first cornerback taken. But Quinyon Mitchell is right there. I got to interview him at the Senior Bowl, and he's such a good dude. I would not mind the Lions just trading the bag to get Quinyon Mitchell right here at like 16, because we know the Seahawks probably aren't going to go with cornerback after they got Witherspoon last year. Tariq Woolen a couple years ago, who had like 6 picks his rookie year. So I don't think they're going to cornerback. This would be a great spot for Detroit to try to trade up and get Quinyon Mitchell. But we aren't doing trades. And we're talking about Seattle, who doesn't have that many holes. They did even go out and get a backup quarterback with Sam Howell. Their wide receiver core, they brought back Lockett. Obviously went Smith, Najigba last year, and Metcalf still on the team. Charbonnet and K9 in the backfield. Very good defense, offensive line. There's a lot of depth. This is kind of like Detroit, honestly. They're drafting for depth, in my opinion. I want to just look at the guys real quick, so don't mind me as I jump in here with my face. Okay, so This is such a hard pick, but I think they will go interior defensive line here, and I do think they'll take Texas defensive lineman Byron Murphy, who, when you had him right next to Tavondre Sweat, they just wreaked havoc. Should have beat Washington in the playoffs last year, but ultimately they did get into the playoffs. They were one of the top 4 teams, and that was led, in my opinion, to be behind the strength of their defensive line and especially their interior defensive line. So give me Byron Murphy. I think he's a great addition and a great fit in Seattle as well.
I like it. Build through the defense. It's what Seattle's kind of been known to do.
Right.
For this next pick, we got the Jaguars. I'm feeling a wide receiver here. It's kind of one that stands out. Brian Thomas Jr. I really think the Jags, if he's available, will take this guy. They lost Calvin Ridley to the Titans. They really only have Christian Kirk and I guess Evan Ingram, but he's kind of getting a little older too.
Zay Jones,
so no,
right?
And who?
Zay Jones, is he still?
Yeah, I guess Zay Jones too.
Right.
So
just another name, right.
But no one, no one crazy or no one elite. That was kind of, like Calvin Ridley was kind of like their, over the top guy. If
right.
Kirk isn't, producing that day, then Ridley steps up. So I do think they are going to try to, help out Trevor Lawrence, give him another weapon. Yes, he did. Still has ETN and Kirk, but with some of these other offenses in their division, you saw what the Texans just did with Stephon Diggs. They got Nico Counts, Tank Dell, Joe Mixon. Their offense is loaded. The Colts, Anthony Richardson, Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman, loaded. And then the Titans just stole Calvin Ridley from you guys, added Tony Pollard. So their offense is pretty, solid as well. So I do think the Jaguars are going to try to compete. They were the division favorites for the last 2 years, and that pendulum has quickly swung to the Texans. So now I think that they're going to want Trevor Lawrence to become this real deal superstar that he is supposed to be. And if you give him another weapon, that's the sooner you'll find out if he is the real deal superstar or if he's just your average good quarterback. So Brian Thomas Jr. is there. I do think the Jags will snag him.
Yes, I do think that they'll go offense as well. The Bengals lost, speaking of offense, a lot of players, as in Joe Mixon has moved on to Houston. Tyler Boyd still remains a free agent, and T. Higgins is a franchise tag, but said that there was not a good chance that he will even show up while on the franchise tag. I kind of expect a draft day trade of T. Higgins for the Bengals, acquiring another second round pick for Higgins. But right now, and I think what's going to kind of spark that is I think they're going to go kind of off the board here, and they're going to get the guy who set the record for the fastest 40 in the NFL, Xavier Worthy out of, oh my God, why am I drawing a blank?
Texas.
Thank you. Oh my golly, G Willikers. I love this kid with his speed. The Bengals did this before with John Ross, drafting him 9th overall, and it just backfired completely, but they are not ones to shy away from going back to the well. So I think they get a wide receiver here. They will trade away T. Higgins during the draft. And even if they don't, these three could be deadly without Tyler Boyd now, assuming that they don't re-sign him. And I'm just trying to spark a little bit. We've had a lot of chalk picks, so let's get some wild stuff happening in this draft. So give me Xavier Worthy to Cincinnati at pick 18.
I like it. It would be an interesting one. I love the John Ross comp too, where ironically, Worthy was the guy that beat his record, so it would make sense to see Worthy, kind of end up there and pair him with Jamar Chase. And yeah, like you said, Nick, if T. Higgins is really, getting ready to leave, it's Jamar Chase is excellent, but you need more than one weapon. We saw that with the Vikings are like the top example. Justin Jefferson couldn't do it all. So Xavier Worthy, that would be interesting, especially for us fantasy players as well. So I like this wide receiver run we got going. I don't think the Rams take a wide receiver. I'm kind of feeling offense or defensive line for them as well. They did lose Aaron Donald this year to retirement. It seems like they're kind of on the, corner or the turning point of a rebuild, getting ready to dive into it with Matthew Stafford getting a little bit older. So for me, I think they are going to go offensive lineman. just kind of keep the offensive line younger. They brought in Jonah Jackson and kind of beefed it up a bit. I think they added another guy too. So their offensive line is young, and I do think they're going to try to set it up for either a free agent quarterback to come in, because what quarterback wouldn't want to come to LA with a great offensive line, as opposed to a bad offensive line. So I think they'll either prepare for a quarterback coming in next year via draft or free agency some way. So I'm gonna go out and say I just feel like they're going to take JC Latham. I feel like the Alabama dude just, I don't know why, just fits, for the Rams. I feel like just a quality offensive lineman type dude. No one that, has too many red flags about him. Just a guy that you kind of know what you're getting with Latham, as opposed to a couple of these other guys.
Yeah, he'll be in Detroit. I believe he was one of the people who accepted the invite to go to the draft. Also, the Rams have their whatever video coming out on YouTube tomorrow, which I'm actually pretty excited to watch, just because I'm still a big Stafford stan. So I'm going to watch that, and also want to see the game that they lose to Detroit and just see everyone's reaction after. It'll be pretty interesting. So that'll be really cool. Pittsburgh up now. I've been drafting offensive tackle for them in every single mock draft I've done. But in this scenario, we have allowed Quinyon Mitchell, who I think is the best cornerback in this draft, to fall this far, which is nuts to me. They absolutely need cornerback after letting Cam Sutton come to us last year, who is obviously no longer in the league. But then they tried to replace him with Patrick Peterson and someone else that I can't remember.
Joey Porter. They did it. They drafted
Joey Porter Jr. last year. You're right.
Well, I mean, Mitchell with Porter.
That's what I'm doing. That would be wild. Give me Quinyon Mitchell here. That would be such a dirty cornerback room. I would love that. It would be so fun. And I think Quinyon Mitchell would fit the Mike Tomlin Pittsburgh Steelers style of defense. That's why I also think he would fit like the grit Dan Campbell, because I think their style is very similar. And I like that pick. I like Quinyon Mitchell to Pittsburgh at 20.
And then you even got Minka, in the defensive back room as well, too. So, yeah, the beefing up that secondary would be a, lock. You got your offense with, I guess Fields or Russell Wilson. You'll see what you can kind of get there. So if one of those guys pans out, then your offense will probably be solid, given the other weapons they have, Najee, Jalen Warren, George Pickens coming into his own. So, yeah, Quinyon Mitchell, I like it. That would be a deadly duo, him and Joey Porter on the outside.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it would.
I'm going to stick to defense here. Jared Verse, he has fallen quite a bit. Florida State dude, would make sense for him to stay in Florida State in home, to go to the Dolphins. Dolphins did also lose Christian Wilkins. I'm not sure if they lost anyone else off their defense. I know they lost
Van Ginkel or Van Grinkel, whatever he
left.
Yeah,
Van Ginkel. So then there was another Xavier Howard, one of their safeties or quarters left as well. So I do think they're going to want to beef up this defense. Mike McDaniels knows offense can't win every game. It can win most games, but it can't win every game. And they've done so much for this offense. They added A-Chain last year, Waddle, Tyreek. You got just so much there. So I think they're going to go defense and whatnot better than the Florida State man. And Jared Verse, keep him in town. You'll have a lot of fans that are rooting and hollering for him. So I think it fits.
It's great. Great pick. I like that a lot. Verse has fallen too long for me. I actually think he might be the first edge off the board with Atlanta. Instead of Dallas Turner, they go Jared Verse, but probably not. Again, concrete is Dallas Turner to Atlanta, but Verse will be right there along with Latu. But this is how NFL draft works: as people fall. Now we're into Philadelphia. They obviously added Saquon Barkley this year, but lost a great center in Jason Kelce. But they do have their backup already there and ready to go. However, I wouldn't be surprised to see them get another offensive lineman with like Lane Johnson. I think he's got to be close to done. Like, I don't know. Their offensive line's getting old. They did just re-sign Mailata to a big extension, but their defense, they did get CJ GJ back, but I'm not like their defense was so bad last year, mostly because they thought Matt Patricia would be a good defensive coordinator substitute halfway through the season. That was a terrible decision. But he won't be running things again. And They went out and got Miami's old defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio, to come in there. They're going to want to help him and give him players. I think they're going to go with the talented white cornerback / safety, Cooper DeJean, however you want to say it. That's who I think gets Philadelphia. They can plug him in to kind of wherever he needs to, whether it's the outside or at safety. If there's injuries, it doesn't matter. He is very talented. And I think this is where he goes. So I'll take Cooper DeJean at Philadelphia, pick 22.
And he just seems like an Eagles type player, or like a player that the Eagles would go out and draft. I don't know why, it just does.
Yeah.
Vikings back up on the board. Kind of ironic how I have both the Vikings picks, but kind of fits.
And both the Bears picks.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
You're picking all the division foes.
Yeah, geez. Ugh. Gross. I just pick like some random ass dude. Just to screw him over on our mock draft because I hate him so
I love it.
That'd be funny. But no, we're keep it legit. If things go no tradesies, all like it has been, I do think they are gonna want to pair an offensive lineman with JJ, just solidify him. I don't really know. I guess they have, I believe, Christian Darrisaw over there, but other than that, they don't have any, premier offensive linemen. Hawk is going to be out a few games as well, and he was a great, just run blocker and pass blocker. So if he's going to be missing time, you're going to definitely need to, bulk up that line. So I am going to go with the big man out of Washington, Troy Fautanu.
Which makes my pick a lot more safe, I guess, because I was going to pick this person no matter what, even if Fautanu was on the board. Because I do think Dallas also goes offensive line and offensive tackle. And I would have picked, because I think this is your third concrete added into your mock. Every single time you mock, get Tyler Guyton from Oklahoma, offensive tackle, to the Cowboys. Jerry Jones is an Oklahoma boy. Like, it just fits out. These are going to be, this is where they're picking. Like, it's concrete. Add Dallas Turner, a cornerback to Indy, whether it's Arnold or Mitchell, and then Tyler Guyton, offensive tackle, Oklahoma, to Dallas. Put it in the books right now. Right there, 30. Sorry.
Okay, that's right. Okay. All right. I say we stick to the offensive line train. The Packers, they brought in Josh Jacobs. Jordan Love needs a solid offensive line too.
Lost Bakhtiari.
Yeah, lost Bakhtiari as well. So I feel that they are going to want to just get, someone big, someone real big, and that's Marius Mims, a gigantic freak. If you watched any of Georgia football games, he was the immediate lineman where you're just like, holy crap, how big is that dude? Just towered over every single defensive lineman that came up to him. 6'8", around like 340, 350. Just a huge dude. Kind of reminds me of a Mekhi Becton type player, just gigantic, or a Jason Peters type dude, just gigantic beast that you can't move. So Amarius Mims, I feel like he will fit nice into this Packers offense. Hopefully the Packers just go crazy and don't hopefully they just draft a bust, or this guy ends up being a bust, but don't want anything good for the Packers is what I'm saying.
Right. 100%. We should have drafted him a kicker. All right, we're on to Tampa, the team we beat in the playoffs with a Derek Barnes interception to cap it off. Me and Adam were there supporting our Honolulu Blues shirts. It was the most intense game I've ever witnessed live, and the loudest game I've ever witnessed live. They brought Baker back. They brought Evans back. They still got Rachaad White, Chris Godwin on that offense. I don't think they go offense. I do think they end up, I don't think they go offensive skill weapons. They do need offensive line help. They also need defensive help.
Oh, no.
No.
Oh, God.
The whole mock draft ruined.
Oh, my gosh.
I have it right here if you want to just quickly get it all back up.
Yeah, hold on. So I don't know if you can see this, but this stupid little sidebar popped up, and I just the only way for me to clear it is I have to manually push it over. Oh gosh.
Quick pause and delay. Technical difficulties.
See how fast we can do this.
There was Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors, Roma Dunze, Joe Alt, Dallas Turner, Oli Fashanu. Where are we at? Oh, sorry. Brock Bowers, JJ McCarthy, Michael Penix. He was down a little bit. This is a good recap for everyone who's
exactly. Good recap.
Laiatu Latu to the Raiders, Talise Fuaga to the Saints, Terrion Arnold to the Colts, then Byron Murphy to Seattle, LSU wide receiver Brian Thomas to the Jags, Texas wide receiver Xavier Worthy to the Bengals.
Buttons again.
Uh-oh. Xavier Worthy. And then
no, wrong guy.
Can you take it back? I don't think you can. Whatever. Adonai Mitchell still on the board. Just don't forget that.
I cannot go back one. That's so.
No, I don't think you can. We'll just leave it.
Texas, whatever.
yeah. Texas wide receiver. Both of them fit. We'll just say I said Adonai Mitchell. The Rams got J.C. Latham. The Steelers got Quinyon Mitchell. The Dolphins got Florida State edge Jared Verse. The Eagles took Cooper DeJean. The Vikings took Troy Foatanu. The Cowboys took Tyler Guyton. And the Packers took Amarius Mims. And then all of that to lead up to the Buccaneers, who I have drafting Chop Robinson out of Penn State, edge rusher. Very raw. Reminds me like Ziggy Ansah coming out, like that kind of raw. Like we'll see how it goes. I watched this film. I actually didn't really love him. I don't think he should be a first round pick, but the way he tested at the combine, I think a team is going to take a big risk on him, and I think that team will be Tampa Bay to add another pass rusher to when they see the Lions again. They hopefully can get, for them, they hope they can get more pressure on Jared Goff. So yes, we are on Arizona.
Yeah. So I would kind of be looking at wide receiver right here, but obviously we put them down for Marvin Harrison. So they're kind of set here. The Cardinals, I don't know, they kind of need a lot. I feel like they will want to look at defense. Nate Wiggins is a solid dude. Johnny Newton, solid defensive line. They do still have Budda Baker in the secondary. I feel like add a good cornerback with a good wide receiver, have a 2 first-round cornerback wide receiver type guys, pair them up against each other and practice each day and see what you can get out of them. So I'm feeling Nate Wiggins out of Clemson for the Cardinals.
It's a guy Brad Holmes, I bet, is trying to get. Came up limp at the combine, so Brad Holmes was all about him. We know that he's a very talented cornerback. Buffalo, I'll just go with the other Texas wide receiver. We'll give him Xavier Worthy. However, in the first draft, it would have been Adonai Mitchell. Both of them talented, so we'll go Xavier Worthy to Buffalo. They need a wide receiver. They lost Gabe Davis. They lost Stephon Diggs. Their best wide receiver right now is Khalil Shakur, slot guy. So give them the speed over the top with Xavier Worthy. Adonai Mitchell would be a good X wide receiver for them, wide receiver 1. Whoever it is, they can't just throw to Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid all day, so they have to get a pass catcher in there. So I'll just take the Texas wide receiver. This one will be Xavier Worthy on this second go-around.
How funny would it be if the Bills end up taking Worthy and the Bengals end up taking Adonai Mitchell?
That would be so funny, dude.
We'll have to get some sort of not freeze. So the opposite of freezing cold takes. There's some account out there, blazing hot takes wherever you are.
Yeah.
All right. The moment you've all been waiting for. The Detroit Lions are on the clock. There's some solid guys out there. Johnny Newton, he would be a guy I would be thinking about if we did not get DJ Reader, but we did. So we were kind of set on interior defensive lineman. Him and Aleem are going to be phenomenal together. So going to rule out Newton. You still have guys like Graham Barton, offensive linemen like Graham Barton and Jackson Powers Johnson. And then, of course, you got your Kool-Aid, your cornerback and Kool-Aid McKinstry who you could get, or you could look a little deeper in some of these other offensive tackles in here we go again, Kingsley, not even going to try for the last name, or Jordan Morgan or Christian Haynes. But honestly, if the draft board is looking like this, Nick, what? Because my gut is telling me Kool-Aid, but I don't think that's a Brad Holmes guy. I don't know why, and I know he loves Alabama dudes, but I'm really confident. We kind of both tweeted the same thing, the other day within a couple hours of each other, and it was like, yeah, the Lions are going to draft someone that no one is expecting, that's not on your draft board, that's a second round pick maybe, and no one's going to be able to peg this guy in their mocks because it'll just be so unexpected. So part of me thinks they're going to go some sort of wild card or make a trade or do something crazy, but I'm just going to, I don't know if I want to keep it chalk or not.
No chalk. Pick someone that is not named Kool-Aid McKinstry, just so we can have a different draft.
Okay. I feel like, yeah, it's true. I did take Kool-Aid the last one. I don't know why. It might not be this guy, but I think we're going to need an offensive weapon in the first round. And Ladd right now is kind of the top dude. Maybe Keon I could see, but his numbers were a little bit iffy. And I feel like Brad Holmes is a big numbers type, produce analytics type guy. So I don't think they'll go Keon, but he does have kind of Michigan State-ish ties. I don't know if that helps out at all, but I feel like the Lions are going to take another offensive weapon here. If it's a wide receiver because they're probably going to take a running back or tight end. So I do think wide receiver here in some sort of capacity. We do have J-Mo, our speedster, who is kind of emerging, but we lost Josh Reynolds. We don't really have an elite number 3. And Ladd McConkey, he's kind of been rising on draft charts, and it wouldn't be the craziest thing, but it would be kind of a Brad Holmes thing. And if he did take Ladd, then I love it.
Yeah, so there's a few things. One, Keon Coleman does not get separation, and Jared Goff lives off of separation. Ladd McConkey is your Cooper Kupp. He is your Amon-Ra St. Brown. Okay, and then people are like, "What? Wait a minute. We already have Amon-Ra St. Brown. Ladd McConkey's like the same thing. Why would we want that?" Well, you know what's better than one Amon-Ra St. Brown? 2 Amon-Ra St. Browns, dude. Like, why would you're showing your like, I don't know. I don't want to call anyone out, but it just like you don't need to have a DK Metcalf as a wide receiver on your team. Look at the Rams with Cooper and Puka. You don't need it. Get Ladd McConkey, who can get separation, who can quickly learn with Jared Goff, be on a team with J-Mo and St. Brown and Laporta and Gibbs and Monty. That offense is just disgusting at that point. I love the pick. I tweeted out and people were all hating on it, but I'm right there with you. Do not be surprised if this is the Detroit Lions' first pick overall, Ladd McConkey. I would actually put him in like my top 5 of players I bet the Lions do draft. If I had to bet on 5 players, hoping that one cashed, Ladd would be in that top 5 that I bet on. So I love that pick. That's what everyone waited for. We'll close it out here. We got a couple more picks. Baltimore, I think they're going to go offensive line with Jackson Powers-Johnson. One of the guys I do hope Detroit looks at big time because he's a very talented guy.
I like it. The 49ers, interesting situation right here. Now, the 49ers could be a team that would go for Keon, especially if they let Brandon Ayuk walk. If he does go, I think Keon is going to come in. Would kind of make sense. There's a couple, I guess, Troy Franklin, maybe he's probably a little bit second roundish type guy. But I do feel like Keon is one of these compliments to one of these Super Bowl teams where, just kind of a little cherry on top. Don't need something, a specific position of need, can kind of just go for luxury here. So I do think the 49ers bring in Keon. Maybe not if they do end up, extending Ayuk or working something out there. But I'm pretty confident that Ayuk this will be his last year or he'll get traded at some point.
I like it. We'll close it out here. I will give the Chiefs Kool-Aid McKinstry. We'll get him the 32nd pick. How I wouldn't be surprised to see like the Raiders trade in to get Bo Nix there or something of that nature. But boom, we did it. We got the Lions, Ladd McConkey. Everyone's gonna hate us like when we drafted Blake Corum for us, but that's okay because we don't, just like Brad Holmes, we don't appease to the fans. We do what we like to do. Follow along if you like it. Don't follow along if you don't like it, you know?
Full results here, boys and girls.
We'll get that tweeted out.
Yes, sir. And as always, check us out on Twitter. Got all sorts of stuff going on. Check us out individually at Nick Faber NFL or Everyday FFB for myself. But one day away from those new jerseys, boys and girls. Can't wait.
Woo.
As